Hey Wargamers, welcome back to the channel, Death from Above Wargaming. I'm Aaron.
I'm Dan.
Welcome, Dan.
Thank you for having me.
Dan is new on the channel,
Yes.
but Dan and I have been gaming for many years, so excited to get him here for yet another Alpha Strike Battle Report. That's right. So we've got 250 points on the table tonight. We have an epic conflict between the nefarious Draconis Combine, that's me, and the Lyran Commonwealth.
I believe that's going to be me.
It's going to be Dan. Somebody. If it's not me.
I think I'm the only other person here, so it'll have to work.
So what are we doing, guys? Well, we're actually going to be testing our escort mission out tonight. So this is one of our famous missions from the classic BattleTech campaign. And so what we're looking to do now is bring that to the Alpha Strike campaign system that we're working on. Spoiler alert. Basically I picked two nav points. One is 15 inches off my table edge. The other one is 6 inches off my table edge. So basically I have to traverse a diagonal line from the 15-inch alpha to the 6-inch beta nav points.
It'd be easier if you came towards my direction, though.
It would be worse for me. It would be most definitely worse. So some of you guys in the comments had asked for an urban map. So I didn't want to do a full urban map. One, because I don't have buildings to fill up a 48 by 48 inch table. But I did put a nice little urban sprawl.
I'm excited.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So we've got the board here in front of us. But first, we're going to check out the forces, come back, and then we will get to it.
I'm in.
All right.
Starting with my 7th Donegal Guard, I have as my showpiece, I will call it, is the King Crab, with the skill of 2 going in. I'm really excited about this one. Following with that is going to be the Cyclops with a skill of 3. Then I have a Merlin and a Locust, repeat, and that's going to be a skill of 3 and 4 respectively. Following up with that as a kind of just a addition to it is going to be an LRM carrier with a skill of 3 and a Goblin medium tank with a skill of 4, and then I have 2 warrior attack helicopters, both with skill of 3.
All right, so here we are. I've got my first Altenmarkt Militia, at least for the mechs. So they're being led by a Shadowhawk 2K. It's a decent medium. It's fast. It's tough. Was able to fit him in its skill level 2, so that is the Lance Leader there. My heavy hitter's a Mauler, so courtesy of the advanced timeline here, we can bring this guy to the table. I've got a Centurion CN9D. Now, something special to note about this mech. This mech is courtesy of our friends over at Polygon Masterworks. Guys, I highly recommend you check these guys out. So what he does is he's an absolute master at making STL files. He will take those MWO or even a fully custom one, anything you want. You need a special variant, he will take care of it for you. And I will tell you, the detail on this mech is second to none. It is absolutely incredible. So you can get these STL files. He has a Patreon page up, which I'll put a link up to that in just a moment. You can make requests on models. You can access, I believe, a library of some pre-existing ones. And I do believe that there are some free ones for sampling if you do have access to a 3D printer or a friend that does. Just incredible level of detail. So very excited about that. Thank you again to our friends over at Polygon Masterworks. So that's the Centurion. That is the D model. So this is a fast-moving mech. It is the only downside between the D and the A. The A obviously a little bit tougher, more resilient, but the D is faster. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how that shakes out. And another new mech on the channel here, we've got the Lancelot. So this is a Lost Tech rediscovery. Pretty good, solid all-around mechs. Here we got 2 Bulldog medium tanks. They made an appearance a couple of games ago, so I think Kevin was playing with these 2. Real tough. And then, very excited, I have 2 aerospace fighters. So 2 SL-17 Chalone aerospace fighters. So these guys are going to be screaming across the board, trying to pick off these attackers as they come at me. So that is my Draconis Combine force. All right, guys, so there you have it. There's the forces. Very exciting stuff there. Very equally balanced. I'm excited to see how those LRM launchers come into play. All that indirect
I just
fire.
want to shoot them.
We'll see. We'll see. I'm going to shoot those spotters out and say, "Give you." And yeah, we're trying aerospace fighters as well for the first time. So we'll see how that goes. Now, one little bit about the fluff here. So we are on the planet of Graham. Graham is known for its multiple industrial centers here. So we are carrying some very valuable munitions from point A to point B. Of course, it is the late 3040s, so some new technology floating around, and ancient enemies like Steiner and Kurita are always looking to meddle in each other's affairs. So that's basically what we've got going on from the fluff perspective. But guys, we're going to check out the battle grid, and then we're going to get right in it. Dan, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
All right, guys, stay tuned. It's coming right up.
Recon 2 to Central Command. Recon 1 is down. We are taking enemy fire. Release all enemy. Central Command to Recon 2. Do you copy? Gojo, come in. Fox Lee, this is Central Command. I have reason to suspect enemy mechs are moving in on the convoy. They are likely here for the ammunition. Move your lance into position. I will send vehicle and air support immediately. Roger that, Central Command. We have enemy mechs on our scope. We got 3 fast-moving targets out on the flank. I'm not sure we can get to that convoy before they do. Fox Lead, this is Vulture 1. We are moving in to cluster bomb the area. Keep your mechs clear, then you can come and clean up the trash. For the dragon.
Battle grid at Graham. Here we are. The convoy has just deployed at Nav Alpha, moving into the city, trying to get across to Nav Beta, which is down there. So as a defender, I was able to choose my side. I'm picking this side here. We'll be moving on to the battle grid momentarily. 7th Donegal controlled by Dan on that side over there. So we will be right back after turn 1 movement. Alright guys, here we are. It is after movement on turn 1. Dan and I facing down. So the Altenmarkt Militia moving in. Let's talk real quick. I had all 4 of my mechs sprint. Lancelot, Centurion, Mauler, and then my Lance Commander, that Shadow Hawk, out there on the right flank. Both Bulldogs there, rumbling up. Convoy, they had to move first per the mission rules, so they are sneaking in, as we saw before, up this main alleyway here in this high-rise downtown area. And then my 2 Shallones streaking across the board here. I have one here, and basically taking a diagonal flight path, and then the other one here coming straight up the gut. These Shallones are armed with cluster bombs, so I am going to be beginning my shooting phase, Dan, with a little cluster bombing. There's no better way to start out. We're going to just do a point of impact right there. It is at extreme altitude, so it's going to be +4 per our rules. The optional, variable targeting range rules that we use. So skill 3, extreme range, altitude bombing is another +3, and then it's an area of effect, so that's another +1. So I need an 11 to hit. This could scatter. Most likely will scatter. Here we go, Dan. So that puppy's going to scatter here. Here we go. We have our handy dandy scatter die. So again, if you didn't watch the last battle report, I know there's a BattleTech template. The dice is just so much more convenient. This is a Games Workshop product. If it does land on the target, you use the dark black arrow there to figure out which direction it's going to go. And then, of course, we're scattering D6 because we don't do a 2-to-1 conversion. We do a 1-to-1 conversion. Here we go. All right, so that's going to go 5 inches out this way. Dan, I think you dodged a bullet or perhaps a cluster bomb. Moving on to the next Shalone. All right, so here it is, striking at this little warrior helicopter. It's like a hawk going after the canary. But, interesting. So in a striking attack, it says you measure range normally, right? And you have the difference for altitude and all this other stuff. So we figured out that, I need a 10 to hit. But it also says you always use short range damage. So even if I was like at extreme range, somehow you would have to hit me at extreme range, but I would be at short range damage. I checked the errata, it wasn't updated. I feel like I may house rule that. Like whatever range you're at, that's the damage you should do. Seems to make sense. But for now, we are going with short range damage, but it is conveniently the same for short and medium. So I need a 10, so I'm going to chain fire these. Here we go. Pew pew.
Pew, pew.
Looking for 10s. That will be a definitive miss. Number 2. Damn it. Number 3. All right, so the warrior lives to fight another day. That is going to wrap up shooting for the Draconis Combine. Dan, are you ready?
I am up. To start my turn, I brought out the King Crab first, and then brought out his pairs, which would be the Cyclops, moved him out. His total, which was 4 inches. King Crab 3 inches, and then the Merlin came out at his 4 inches. I wanted to keep them unsprinted in case Aaron did try and run a cluster bomb, which she did, which was convenient for me because I will be able to fire back at him. And then I sprinted both the LRM carrier and the Goblin medium tank up the main road, which gave me an additional inch because they stayed on asphalt. Both warriors came up towards the center. I want to try and get some eyes on that convoy so I can start dropping some LRMs on them. And then the Locust, I just ran straight up midfield, just to kind of be there.
Just to be there.
Just to be there.
All right, so you're shooting, sir. Who do you want to start with?
Let's start with this guy, the airplane, the jet, whatever it was called.
The Shalom.
The Shalom.
Who will you be beginning with? The King of Crabs?
Yeah, we're gonna start with the King Crab.
All right.
We're gonna.
So you will be at extreme range.
Yes.
So his skill is 2.
Yes.
And his extreme range damage is what, 3? Is that right?
Yes.
So this is the Gauss King Crab, which is terrifying. So you will need a 2, 6, 8.
I need an 8. All right, put a little thought into it. I'm gonna go with the grouping of firing. It's just quicker that way. And hopefully my
I hope you miss,
dice gods are my friends today. No, it looks like I hit all 3. So
that is going to hurt. Now
yes.
That's 3 points of damage to that Shalom, and if I'm not mistaken, it also exceeds the damage threshold. So aerospace fighters have a damage threshold. If you exceed that in 1 hit, the pilot will need to make a control check, or perhaps plummet to the earth here. All right, so let's mark that damage off.
All right, so we got the Cyclops up next, who's going to also fire at the Shalom. He's going to be... Extreme range is going to be 2. He's going to be a skill of 3, so he's going to be a 9 hit, correct?
Yeah, that is correct, sir.
All right, let's... I'm going
And
to
what's
group
his
fire
damage
these.
value? He's got 2?
Yes.
You're group firing. Going for broke here on this board, Shalom.
Oh,
man.
Yeah, so that's...
2 more points of damage. Ouch.
All right, next up is going to be the Merlin, which is also a skill 3, so he's going to be on a 9, which is just a single shot going into the Shalom. Maybe punish him for his arrogance. Yep, and that's a 10.
Oh, my lord. All right, so that is 6 damage to that Shalom. I believe the armor is still holding up. Nothing internal yet, but we'll need to make that fated skill check at the end phase. Yes, indeed.
Ridiculous.
So, Dan, anything else you're shooting with? You could potentially fire with that warrior.
Yeah, I was thinking firing back at the Shalom with the warrior on his pass over.
Right. So the way that works, guys, is so we have the line from here all the way to where I marked over there. So Dan would basically measure the distance to that line, which is over our short range, so it is a medium range, and we basically multiply that, or like you add on range increments for altitude differences and all these other things. So basically, it turns out to be +2 for the range.
Okay.
So skill level is what, 3 on those
3,
guys?
yeah.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is all you would need.
Okay. So fire hitting on a 7. It's gonna be 1. Let's do it. And that is a hit.
Whew. All right, so those aerospace fighters getting beaten up. It is looking ugly. Anything else you want to shoot with before we wrap this turn up?
No, I don't think there is anything else that I would be able to.
You could take a long-range shot with that other warrior.
You're absolutely right. I can, and I'm gonna do it.
He's gonna do it, folks. He's doing it.
It's gonna be the same thing.
You heard it here first. Unbelievable. All right, so Dan, you have a hot hand. You have beginner's luck, maybe.
Yes,
I'm sure. But we will, guys. We'll be right back here with turn 2 already. Bombs are dropping. Turn 2. We are back. The Draconis Combine against the forces of the Federated Commonwealth. So, the Donegal Guard. Dan, you lost initiative. Crazy things happening here. Tell me, what would you like to do this turn?
All right, so I started off with, again, my buddy, the King Crab. Moved him up his standard 3. Not going anywhere, but okay. I don't need to because he's got extreme range and he can still hit like a
boss.
And then I moved the Cyclops up to his max 4, ran the Merlin, and then sprinted both the Goblin and the LMR carrier up the main street. Moved both my warriors over closer into the city where the convoy is. Moved the Locust up. Tried to keep myself a little bit of cover just from his Aaron's Lance over there in the forest. Hopefully gives him a little bit of line of sight issues. And then my main objective is to get rid of these jets.
Well, they are trying to keep your lance pinned down on your side of the board while that convoy escapes. So Dan, do you want to do the honors and start the shooting?
Yes, I'm going to start with King Crab into this...
the old Shalom over there?
Yeah, Shalom.
Okay. So guys, just for cinematic effect, I left both aerospace fighters sort of in place near their targets. Of course, the red hex here representing their starting position, so he's just moving in a straight line right across the board, but it's kind of boring just to leave him on the board edge the whole time. Let's keep him in the action. So Dan, obviously as that Shalom strafes over your top there, you're going to be firing at him. Now, that is going to be at extreme range because I am at extreme range.
Yes.
At extreme altitude, dare I say.
Yes.
So, do your worst.
So skill 2, I'm going to be hitting on...
8s again, I think.
Yeah.
It's awful for me.
I'm just gonna do group firing again, so let's hope this works out for me.
Let's hope it does not.
Sometimes
it works. It does
got
not.
One hit. I got one hit.
Okay, right. So 1 point of damage there to that Shalom. So bad news. That Shalom takes an internal hit. I just checked the card. Dan, a critical hit to be rolled. Do it up for us. 2d6. Here we go.
critical hit. Sensors.
3. Now, if we check that chart, that is a fire control hit. So that is going to hurt that Shalom, which is already looking at really high numbers to begin with. Next turn, though, it's going to be even harder.
Alright, so next is going to be the Cyclops firing into the same Shalom. He's with skill 3, so he's going to be hitting on 9. And I'm going to group fire, which is 2 shots into this. Maybe my luck's not going to... Ooh. Ooh.
Yes,
Did not pay off.
The coordinator.
Did not pay off.
Alright, so that Shalom lives to fight another day. Trailing smoke. It is not looking good.
Alright, we're going to have the Warriors going to be doing spotting for the Locust. And Locust is going to do an IF fire into the weaker of the convoy.
Yeah, one of those little guys?
Yeah, one of the little guys. We're going to be hitting on a 9, if I believe correctly, because the Locust got a 4 skill. Here we go. And that counts, right? Or do I win?
Oh, no, that is good. That is not cracked. So
Okay.
that is a point of damage on one of those convoy vehicles. Now, Dan, per Alpha Strike rules, as soon as vehicles are hit, you get to roll a motive hit. So
Okay.
2d6. Now, this is not something we did in Classic, but we're giving it a try here. They do count as tracked vehicles.
So the 8.
But 8 is nothing doing there. So no motive hit on that vehicle.
Alright, now the second Warrior, who's not spotting, is going to fire into the convoy as well. Going for the same exact target, so we can get us a point on the scoreboard here. And he does not hit anything.
Most likely hits the office building.
He is going to be
slaying innocent civilians that were just doing something up here in the high-rise, watching the battle from afar. Dan did declare that his warriors were at basically maximum altitude, so we're assuming that they have line of sight over all of the buildings, and meanwhile, thus that means everything will have line of sight to them. So that wraps up shooting for the Donegal Guard. Can these Shaloms do some damage, or are they just kind of going to be a flop? We'll see. It's the first time with aerospace. Altenmarkt Militia coming up next. All right, starting off with the Centurion of the Altenmarkt Militia, sighting down that Locust. He's just within long range. His skill is 3. Locust has a TMM of 3, so that is 369. Here we go. Looking for 9s. He has 2 points of damage. I'm going to chain fire. Unlike Dan, I am not a risk taker. So here we go. First shot.
Man.
That is a hit. Look at that.
Man.
That's the first shot.
Man.
Second shot.
I call shenanigans.
That's a miss. So that Locust is going to take 1 point of damage. All right, the Lance Commander of the Altenmarkt Militia firing down at the Cyclops. I'm going to use 7 to hit at extreme range. Only 1 point of damage. Here we go. That is a point of damage on that Cyclops, courtesy of that elite gunner. Okay, so real quick, we'll recap what we did here. Our Bulldogs moving up, trying to get these guys on the pavement. This first one there will benefit from the extra inch. The other one following closely behind. The Mauler still trying to get good line of sight over these buildings and billboards and everything else. Lancelot trying to get in range. We are using the shielding optional rule tonight. So if I can get adjacent to some of those vehicles, it will make it a little bit harder. If I can get in between the vehicles and Dan's nefarious blue zombies, that would be beneficial for me. I can make it harder for him to hit. But that's basically it on the mech front. Now we move over to my favorite, the aerospace front. So we're doing a couple things here. First thing is we're doing a striking attack on Prybar in that King Crab. So that is a short range attack. That means I get my attack value of 3. Good news, it's in the rear, so I get +1 for 4. Now, that crab has a TMM of 1, if I'm not mistaken, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there it is. So, skill 3, 4, but I am at extreme range, so I need an 8. Here we go.
You gonna chain fire or you gonna group fire? Group fire. Do it.
I'm going for it, Dan. I'm going to live my life
You got it. You know?
quarter of a roll at a time here. So I'm gonna roll like Dan. All 6s, all day. Oh my god. Alright, so it's just 1 point of damage.
You should have probably chain fired.
I should have chain fired. That was some House Steiner trickery right there. But it is 1 point of damage on that King Crab. The second Shalom streaking across that vehicle convoy, that conga line coming down the road there, dropping a cluster bomb right in between the two of them. It is high altitude bombing run, In retrospect, I think I should have done a low altitude dive bomb, but such is life. I need a 10 to hit. Oh man, this is not a good day for the Altenmarkt Militia and their friends. So we'll see. I mean, maybe it'll scatter into something juicy. So just assume the point of impact is right on the front nose there of that LRM carrier. Here we go. Oh man,
that's nothing.
That is going nowhere. 6 inches out. I mean, that might blow up my own helicopter here, which is just scenery, of course, but still just awful.
I was actually going to ask you about that.
Awful, awful. Well, that is the end of shooting here for the Altenmarkt Militia. End of turn 2 in its entirety. So we're moving right into turn 3. Hard to believe so much action already. Turn 3?
Yeah.
Is it really just turn 3, Dan?
Yeah, lots happening.
Calamity.
Yeah.
So we were talking off camera, and some of the rules for this escort mission, they're a little bit different than CBT, but I said, well, we shouldn't let them sprint because obviously they can get a board, move 8 inches. They'll be across the board in 4 turns if, maybe not with this particular terrain setup, but with other ones. And we said, maybe we'll introduce motive hits for these vehicles. But now I'm starting to wonder, did I make a bad decision?
I think we might have.
Maybe we should write motive hits out. I'm not sure. We'll see how it goes. Still lots of Alpha Strike to be played here. The Altenmarkt Militia, the Draconis Combine lost initiative, so I had to make the first move. We're going to start out here actually with my Shadowhawk. So my Shadowhawk is at long range. It's going to be firing down at that Cyclops again. This time I get a 2. So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 is what I need. I'm going to group fire again. 7? Yeah. He's skill 2.
He's not at... Was he extreme range?
Long. Yeah, he was extreme last time. Okay. Correct. Dan auditing my math. It's a sign of a good Battletech player. So that Cyclops takes another point, guys. This is looking good. Good start. We're going up next with the Centurion on that Goblin medium tank coming down the pipe there. So I'm going to need a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 because I am just at long range here. So looking for 8s. I'm going to actually chain fire these. Here we go. Well, already I feel like it was a good decision. Here we go. Second shot. Holy smokes. That's awful.
Critical fail, right?
Critical failure. The pilot accidentally hits the eject button. We're going to roll right into the Mauler, who's doing the same thing, also at long range. So the Mauler has a long range profile of 3 damage. Now he does have overheat long. Dan, I am tempted.
Go for it. Why not?
Because my target number is super high. I also need 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8s. This time I'm group firing.
What are you firing at?
The same thing, that Goblin. Here we go.
Oh, this time you're going to group fire.
I'm going for it.
Alright.
I feel good. Alright, okay. Nope, not what I wanted. 1 point of damage on that Goblin. This is ugly. Alright, the Lancelot is up next. Also needs an 8 to hit that Goblin. This is like one of those turns in the recap at the end where I'm like, do you remember that time where I missed everything? That was the turning point. I feel like that's this turn. I was really hoping to open up that middle a little bit because that thing is going to hem in my convoy. This is ugly. Here we go. And it's a miss. All right, so next up we got the aerospace. That's all I have left. Can they make a difference zooming through these buildings trying to take out that locust? We'll see. All right, so these Shallones, there's a pair of them streaking through the city. The one here without the fire control damage, sighting down that locust at low altitude, needs 8s to hit. The other one will need 10s, as Dan reminded me. So here we go. I need 8s. Gonna go for broke. It's 2 points of damage. That locust is toasted.
What is it meant to be?
It was meant to be, Dan.
Destroyed.
All right, the second Shallone here, trailing smoke. He's going to fire at that near warrior. He's going to need 10s. So I'll be chain firing these. He needs 10s. Here we go. Shot number 1. Shot number 2. Shot number 3. Well,
I'll take it.
That fire control hit is hurting him, but that locust is destroyed. That could be huge. However, the entire lance whiffed. Dan, this is your chance to retaliate. Let's see what you can do.
All right, so I started off with sprinting the Cyclops and the Merlin straight up through the center, get them into closer combat, and then hopefully next turn I'll definitely be able to lay some fire down. I sprinted the Locust up onto the convoy, hopefully trying to get some kills in there and just cause chaos, but yeah, that didn't result very well.
The only chaos I see is some collapsing balconies there on this poor apartment
That was
building.
a misfire from one of the warriors. And then I sprinted the goblin straight up the center, and hopefully to draw some fire in.
Well, that worked.
Which that did work. And then the 2 warriors, I moved into the center, into the cluster over there to cause a little more chaos and cause the convoy to hopefully sprint out of that area. And then I moved the King Crab up, his standard 3, and adjust the LMR carrier behind the building so he can just start doing some indirect firing into whatever I feel like firing at.
I wonder what that will be, Dan.
Yeah, me too. We'll find out. Alright, so I'm going to start with the King Crab. I'm going to fire into the commander, your Shadowhawk over there.
What do you need to hit?
So he's skill 2, and then
Is he extreme range?
he will be extreme range.
Okay.
So
it looks like an 8 then, yeah?
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. And then that's going to be 3 shots. I'm gonna group fire
Of course you will.
because I like to make this stuff go
Had
quick.
a hot hand tonight.
Oh, that did not pay off today.
Wow.
That's not, yeah, just a lot of King Crab. You're failing me, man. All right, so I'm going to have the higher up warrior is going to be spotting for the LMR carrier onto that convoy. We're going to be firing at the lead vehicle on that convoy, and that is going to be, I believe, extreme. So he's going to be hitting on 9s.
Okay. And that accounts for the extra +1 for indirect fire as well? Or
No, so it'd be 10s. Yeah.
10s you need. Are you going to chain fire these, or are you going for broke?
I'm going for broke. I mean,
That's how Dan,
it's all or nothing.
Dan does.
Oh, God.
All right,
Did not pay off
well,
again.
more apartment building balconies smashed to the ground as that LRM carrier misses its mark.
And for our final warrior, I'm going to have him firing into the same convoy. He's going to be going for that lead vehicle as well.
Okay.
He is a skill 3, so he will be hitting on 8s.
7, I think, you're in medium range, yeah.
7.
All right, let's see it up here.
And I'm going to group fire my 1 shot. Oh my God. Wow,
Well,
I lost it. I lost it.
I will tell you, I missed a lot, you missed a lot, so it is a bit of a stalemate here in turn 3. So stay tuned, we will do a quick damage recap, and then we will be back with turn 4. Turn 3 damage report on the side of the Federated Commonwealth, RICKARD'S. This is the mech lance. That King Crab taking a little bit of damage from the Shalone, Cyclops getting banged up by the Shadowhawk, and the Locust knocked out of commission, a point from that Centurion, and then the other Shalone just wiping it off the map. On the Stormbringers side, this is the FedCom vehicle lance, that Goblin, taking a point of damage from the Mauler. Otherwise, all those vehicles are okay. On the side of the Draconis Combine, only the Crimson Vultures have sustained damage. This is the aerospace team, the one in critical condition, 1 point of structure, and a fire control hit. The other one just a couple points of damage on the armor, otherwise doing okay, and that critical one did make its control check. Alright, Wargamers, welcome back to turn 4. The convoy moving out of the city, the Draconis Lance moving into support, and of course those Donegal Guard persistent as ever. Those choppers just unflappable, just tailing the convoy, gunning them down. So I lost initiative. Dan's feeling pretty good about it. I want to see what I can do here. So I have a few things I'm going to start with. First of all, let's talk about these bulldogs. So they rumbled up the pavement, got an extra inch of movement. They're going to be turning those turrets, firing at that Merlin. Now my bulldogs have 2 points at medium range. They are skill 4, not the best. You know, they never graduated. So here we go. Looking for 7s, group firing down. First bulldog on the Merlin. Woo! Alright, just 1 point of damage. I saw that 5 come up, I got excited. Second bulldog on the Merlin. Ooh, that's 2 points of damage. So 3 armor stripped. Alright, so next up we're going to do a striking attack from the Shalone onto that Merlin. Now I, again, am at low altitude. These fighters both screaming in. So the first one here, shooting the Merlin. Group fire. Dan doesn't like it. That's everything. That's 3 points of damage to that Merlin. Now, Dan, if I'm not mistaken, that is stripped of armor. Is that correct?
It is now.
Love it.
It wasn't a moment ago.
All right, so we're going to move right into the Shadowhawk. He has a medium range value of 2. Firing at that Merlin, this could be good. If I can hit, I can get a critical hit. So he is at medium range, so 2, 4, 5. All he needs is a 5. Oh, I love it. I love these low numbers. Things are getting closer. Here we go. Don't whiff it. Oh, God. All right, so 1 does manage to hit, even with that awful piloting die roll. So that's 1 into the structure. Now that means I get a critical hit. How delicious. Here we go. Dan, are you ready? Now I need a 2 or a 12 here. That'll pop the mech. It's a 5. That is a non-critical hit. That is the opposite of a critical hit. So that is unfortunate. Moving on. This Mauler has been waiting, prowling in the forest, right on the edge there. He is now stationary, sighting down the wounded Merlin. The Mauler has a very fun ability, one I like to call Overheat Long. So normally when you have an Overheat ability, you can only use that at medium or short range. However, with Overheat Long, you get all the benefits, all the meat and deliciousness of Overheat at long and extreme range. So I'm at long range. I'm stationary. I need a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, minus 1. I only need 6s to hit. Dan, I'm overheating twice. Look at this. And do I want to group fire? I feel like I do.
Just do it.
I feel like I do. Why do I have 2 red dice, Dan? Because I'm just ready to roll the critical hit in advance. All right, here we go. So 5 points of damage from this Mauler at long range with Overheat 2. That's pretty nasty. Here we go. Need 6s. Come on. Oh, baby, that's a full house.
Heat level critical. Enemy mech destroyed.
All right, so we have our convoy guardians finally in position here, looking at those choppers. So this Centurion is going to start. He's going to sight that near chopper down. I am going to chain fire though. So first shot. Yeah, that's a no. That's a negative. Second shot. That's a hit.
Yeah, that's a hit.
All right, so that chopper does take a point of damage. Now, Dan, I could put that chopper in forced withdrawal. Here's the rule, guys. Per the rule book, if you only have 1 point of structure and your armor is stripped, that will put you in forced withdrawal. So that chopper is in forced withdrawal, but it will still be able to shoot quite a bit as it does have the elevation. Let's move on to that Lancelot next. So the Lancelot needs the same thing. He's going to need a 9 to hit the chopper, but he's going to target... Actually, you know what? He cannot target them because both of them are in his rear arc. So he is instead... you see that there? Yeah, actually, I just realized he cannot shoot them. That was a miscalculation on my part. He's instead going to go for that... I think I want to go for the medium tank, the Goblin. Let's see if we can hit it this time. Medium range. The Lancelot is a 3 at medium. So I'm going to need a 3, 4, 5, 6. Just a 6 to hit. Seems reasonable. Unreasonable, apparently, per the dice. I only do 1 point of damage to that Goblin. Now, whenever you hit a vehicle, you do get actually a motive hit. So I forgot about that on the Warrior as well. So first we're going to start with the Warrior. Here we go. That's what we call an epic fail. So, onto the Goblin. A 9. All right, so that is something. So the Goblin blows a track, pops a wheel, something happens. It's slowed down just a little bit. Okay, so the Shalone, the other one, dropping its last cluster bomb in between the King Crab and the LRM carrier. Now, this guy is also at low altitude, which means, Dan, so it's actually a dive bomb. Okay. So I need a 3, 4, 5, 6. I need a 6 to hit this time. Here we go. Hopefully I get one of my cluster bombs. Okay, so that was me sighing in the background. We're just going to assume that the point of impact, again, right in between these two mechs. So it goes 2 inches. Now it is a 3-inch blast, so that is still going to hit that LRM carrier. So the LRM carrier takes 1 point of damage from the cluster bomb. Not bad. And also, I get a motive hit. So, here we go. Let's take a look. And 6. So that's going to be nothing. No motive hit, nothing exciting, but I'll take the point of damage. That, Dan, wraps up my shooting here. On to you next.
Alright, so to start my turn, I'm going to be firing the LRM into the convoy. Going for the frontal.
Yeah, that guy?
Yeah, right in dead center. Let's just, he's going to be hitting on 8s. Let me taking 3 shots. I'm just going to cluster fire it again, like I always do, which is everything.
That is brutal. I believe that is destroyed vehicle, Dan. That is a sizzled convoy vehicle right there.
I will take
a smoldering wreck. Uh-oh. 1 objective point for the Donegal Guard.
Alright, we're going to be firing the King Crab into the convoy as well, which is going to be the far left guy, but in the front. He's got a skill of 2, so he's going to be hitting on 8s, taking 4 shots, doing the cluster fire again. Hopefully it pays off.
He has a damage of 4 at long range.
Yes, sir.
This is awful. 2 points.
2 hits.
So, the convoy vehicle, this is a medium-sized convoy vehicle. In Alpha Strike, there are 3 different convoy class vehicles. Medium, which has 2 armor and 1 structure, a light one, which has 1 and 1, and then the heavy one, the armored one, which I believe has 5 total, so I think 4 armor and 1 structure. And so in the one we're playing here, there's 3 mediums, so he hit a medium. That means it's still alive, Dan.
Yeah, I know.
However, you do get a motive hit per our experimental rules, so 2d6. Looking for a 9 or better here. Nothing. So just shot right through the cabin there. Maybe you hit the the passenger, but the driver's still okay. Moving on. We're
gonna go with the goblin right up in the front. He's gonna fire at the same thing. He's gonna be at, I believe, medium range for that.
Don't like it. I'm sighing because if that Lancelot was just a little bit faster, I could have got him in the middle there to do that shielding maneuver. But such is life.
Which means he's going to be hitting on 8s as well, because he's a skill of 4, and then 2 and 2.
All I can hope is you whiff this one, Dan.
Yeah, me too. I mean, not me too. Oh yeah, no, definitely didn't whiff. That's
another sizzled vehicle.
Yeah, that's 2 more down. I like it. I'm liking this. That's 2 points for me. We're going to start with Cyclops here. He's going to be firing into the Shadow Hawk. Get a little vengeance for his Merlin buddy, who's yeah, he's not feeling good anymore. So I'm hitting on 7s.
Yeah.
7s.
And
that's everything right there.
Oh,
so
well,
4.
the Shadowhawk is gonna feel that one.
And now we're gonna be firing the Merlin for his last stand into the Shadowhawk as well.
Last stand of Merlin.
He's gonna be hitting on 7s as well, taking 2 shots. Come on, give me something, you guys, before you die. That's a hit.
Alright, so the armor on that Shadowhawk is stripped. However, no internal damage yet.
I'm going to fire both the warriors into the convoy. First warrior is going to target the already damaged convoy. Hitting on 7s with a skill of 3 to start. I thought I had it because I saw a 6 there. And then the second one, he's going to go for the same. We're going for damaged light.
Yep. It only has 1 structure left.
Oh,
fortune favors the dragon. I love it. So somehow that guy miraculously survived. However, 2 smoldering craters left from where the King Crab and that LRM carrier laid waste to those frontal vehicles there. So the Merlin down as well. Locust down. But other than that, it's hard to say who really is in control of this. So we'll do a damage recap, and we will be right back.
Turn 4 damage report on the side of the 7th Donegal Guard. RICKARD'S records getting picked apart. First the Locust, now the Merlin. The entire Draconis Lance, basically, including those Bulldogs, gunning that thing down. A crushing blow from an overheating Mauler. That mech is now out of commission and destroyed. On the vehicle side, not looking much better. The Goblin taking a little bit more damage, just around 50% armor there. And the Warrior getting plinked by the Centurion. All it takes is 1 point of armor loss to put that chopper into forced withdrawal. On the Draconis Combine side, that Shadowhawk completely stripped of armor. The Mauler up to 2 points of heat. But the big news is 2 convoy vehicles have been destroyed.
Here we are on Graham. This turn 5, I believe, Dan. I think I've lost track. These turns are going fast. I can't believe it's only turn 5 and so much carnage.
It's my group firing
on the battlefield. So the convoy here still making some haste. One broke off, trying to lure the warrior, or perhaps just like that guy, who's like, oh my god, he's off-roading it. They were like, Johnson, stay in formation. So a whole bunch of carnage happening here. So Dan, you lost initiative this time.
Yeah.
First time I think in a few turns. So why don't you tell us here what is going on with your forces?
Well, I'm kind of in I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I just moved up the Cyclops. I definitely want to try and take out his the commander, the Shadowhawk. Maybe just
out of spite.
Just because, Move the King Crab into the center field so he's got a better view of the convoy going across, and he can just start lobbing whatever he possibly can into the convoy to get me some kills. The Goblin, I didn't move at all. LRM, I didn't move at all. And then the Warrior, force withdrawal, he's coming towards the exit to my side of the board, but he's still gonna stay where he can take some pop shots. The other Warrior tried to make it so you had to split up your protection on the convoy.
It worked.
Kind of worked, but we'll see how that pays off.
Right. And that Goblin movement basically just, remember with that motive hit, guys, did not move very far, just kind of around the corner, also getting close to that convoy. So Dan, who do you want to start shooting with?
I'm going to start with the Cyclops. He's going to fire into your Shadowhawk now, because.
Let's do it.
So he is 4, and he's hitting on 3,
7, I think, right?
5, 6, 7, yeah, on 7.
All right. And what's his... It's really that many dice? It looks like a lot of dice in your hand, and I'm concerned with the number of dice in your hand.
Yes, for the Cyclops, I'm playing 4.
All right.
So let's do this. So that is 2 hits.
All right, so 2 hits, 1 lost in the trees there. So 2 hits is still going to generate a critical hit as that Shadowhawk was stripped of its armor.
Critical hit. Leg.
7. So that's going to be an MP hit, leg actuator, hip, something along those lines. That Shadowhawk will be hobbled.
All right, so we're going to be going with the Goblin into the far convoy. This is a light convoy, so hopefully we'll blow him up in 2 hits. He's going to be hitting on 8s. So let's see what we got here, guys.
I see 1 point of damage, another smoking convoy vehicle.
Not what I wanted, but close enough. It's close enough. Warrior into the far convoy again. Hopefully we'll knock off that last point, score us another victory point. That is hitting on 7s.
All right, yeah, I think that sounds right.
Yeah, so 7.
Right, because he's a little bit of a better gunner than
yeah, he's a 3. So
Enemy vehicle.
that's a hit.
That's another destroyed vehicle, Dan.
Oh, I will take this.
It's getting intense now. 3 convoy vehicles destroyed.
I'm gonna go with some risky business. I'm gonna be having my second Warrior firing into the convoy in the back. Also gonna have him spotting, so it's gonna give him an additional point to his hit. So it's gonna be hitting on 8s instead of 7s.
Right, this is a safety net spotting going on right here, just in case. So
I didn't need it. So
it's 4 vehicles destroyed. Dan, 1 more vehicle, and that is a minor victory.
And
now, if I destroy 75% of your forces, it will end up in a draw. So
I'm okay with a draw, though.
Guarantee victory, Dan, is by
blowing up everything.
So that is 4 convoy vehicles down, guys. Still that King Crab and the LRM carrier left to go. All right, so we had quite a strategic session here off camera. Dan was weighing all of his numerous options. Dan, what have you decided?
What I'm going to go for, I was debating between the heavy escort or the medium escort, but I've decided ultimately I'm going to take the King Crab and the LRM, and they're going to fire everything into Centauri. Because if I can get rid of him, That just leaves everything open for a lot more pain. So
man, that poor mech. All right.
we're going to be hitting on 7s. It's King Crab's on a skill of 2. And we're dropping everything on him, starting with the King Crab. Don't let me down again. That's
3 points of damage.
That's 3. I like that.
That is a good start.
All right. All right, so the LRM is going to be the same thing. We're hitting on 7s, firing in. It's going to be 3 shots. We're just going to cluster everything like normal. Hopefully he doesn't fail me. If he does, it's going to the brig forever.
Forever. Oh, no, that's still 2 hits.
I'll take the 2 hits.
Oh, man. Well, that Centurion is still alive, but completely stripped of armor.
That's disappointing.
And because of that XL engine, it only has 2 structures, so just sneeze on it, Dan. Sneeze on it, and that mech will be toast. But it held firm in defense of that convoy. Now the Altenmarkt Militia get to strike back. All right, here we go. Bulldogs starting us off here, hitting that Cyclops. They're staying on their primary target. They're still just outside of short range here. They're going to need 7s to hit. Awful. Like I said, just high school dropouts here. Should have stayed in the academy, guys. But they need 7s to hit. 4, 5, 6, 7. God. All right, here we go. All right, so 2 points on the Cyclops. The second Bulldog. Firing in. Missiles, lasers. Woo, doggy.
That's structure.
That's in structure. That is inside. That's delicious. All right, so here we go. The first one. Can we get a 2 or a 12, Dan? Can we end the Cyclops? Shoot him in that big old cockpit. So close, yet so far away. A 9. So what is that on the sheet? I believe that is nothing.
Yeah.
That is nothing, people. It's not what I like to see.
You're doing great on these crits.
Shadowhawk up next. Needs 5s to hit this Cyclops. Just anything to get that internal strike would be great. Here we go. All right, just got 1 here. But again, it's good enough for that internal hit. A 7, so that's a motive hit. It's going to slow that Cyclops down just a little bit. Could be enough. Could make a difference. Here it is, the last cluster bomb coming from that wounded Shalone. Needs a 9, courtesy of that fire control hit. Apparently even dropping bombs gets more difficult. Point of impact's basically going to be right off the right side of that LRM carrier, kind of right by the King Crab's foot. Let's see, can we nail it this time, people? Can we get 1? We cannot. God. If Kevin watches this, he's going to be very grumpy because I landed just about every artillery shot last game. This time I can't land a thing. All right, so here we go. 2 inches again. Now this one may be worth measuring, so we'll be right back. All right, so we measured the final location, and thankfully this cluster bomb is a 3-inch AOE. That hit both, so I did a motive hit on the LRM carrier, did a point to the King Crab, a point to the LRM carrier. Here we go, motive hit. I'm looking for a 9 or better. It's not going to do it. All right, but that opens a door here for his wingman, who is doing a striking attack on that LRM carrier. Now, I am in the rear arc, so I get 4 points of damage here. Got all my dice. So I need a 3, 4, 5. Just a 5. Because he didn't move. Can I take this thing out? Almost missed it, but courtesy of that rear armor shot, that will do the LRM carrier in. That's a big win for the Draconis Combine. Alright, Centurion on the Goblin. He's going to need 6s, firing 2 points of damage here at medium range. Gets them both, so 2 points on the Goblin, and another potential motive hit.
Yeah.
Nothing. Alright, and the Lancelot last for the Combine here. Firing up at that helicopter, quite elevated. So
It's kind of dangerous. There's people inside that building.
What's that?
There's people inside that building.
I gotta be real careful. We don't want any more casualties.
I've watched Godzilla. I know what happens.
So it does 3 points of damage at medium range. I need, what did I say? 3, 7, 8, 9. God, 9. It's really high. This helicopter's hard to hit. Ugh. Nothing. More people. more civilian casualties.
Oh, poor office workers.
All right, well that is everything I've got. So we did some substantial damage. We destroyed the LRM carrier. However, the convoy, I don't know if they're going to make it then. I just don't know. So we are going to go to a quick damage recap, guys. We will be back with turn 6.
Turn 5 damage report. It's getting rough for the Donegal Guard. RICKARD'S Wreckers down to basically 1.5 mechs. Only Prybar able to wade through the heavy fire. The Cyclops taking flak from the Bulldogs and the Shadowhawk down to just 5 structure and taking a motive hit. And the King Crab getting hit with a cluster bomb. On the vehicle side, Calamity strikes. The Shalone strafing and blowing that LRM carrier apart. The Goblin medium tank also taking 2 more points of damage from the Centurion and suffering from a motive hit there as well. And again, 1 chopper in forced withdrawal. Now on the Draconis side, things are ugly. That Shadowhawk in very critical state, nearly in withdrawal, took a motive hit. The Centurion completely stripped of armor, and 2 more convoy vehicles blown out of the water here. The Warriors doing their job, and the Goblin contributing as well.
Pivotal turn, turn 6. It's here already. This is a meat grinder now. We've got a bunch of mechs moving into position to try to protect them. But helicopters, mechs, tanks closing in here. Dan tightening the noose. So I lost initiative, and I had to move first. So let's talk about my Bulldogs. We'll start with them as usual. They continued their advance up following this Cyclops here. They're going to both turn their turrets and fire at that Cyclops. I guess we'll start with one at a time. Now, they are in short range now, finally, so they get their full 3 points of damage. There we go. And we will be firing. Here we go, 6s. This is what I need, Dan.
And that's
delightful. That's 3 points of damage. It's a good start. Now, critical hit time. That's a 10.
That's fire control.
That's good, but could be meaningless, Dan. Could be meaningless.
Could be.
All right, here we go. Second Bulldog firing at the Cyclops. Also needs 6s. Let's see what we can do here. It's curtains for that Cyclops. Gunned down.
In the prime of his life.
In the prime. All right, so let's move on. These Shalones, I thought they were going to be out early, but still very much in the fight. The damage one with the fire control hit, striking against that Goblin. I need 8s. I get nothing. All right, one more Shalone here striking against the Goblin. I'd forgotten that the other one was in the rear arc, but it did not matter anyway, as I rolled a 2 on that pilot die, and I believe I needed 8s. Well, I guess it could have. But such is life, Dan. So this Shalom is doing a little bit better. His targeting systems are optimal. Honed in. He is only going to need 6s to hit. So here we go. 3 points of damage. And I'll get some luck. I do. 3 points of damage to that Goblin. How's that Goblin looking?
Oh, like he's gonna be a charred mess.
I love hearing that.
I
love hearing it. All right, so that's another ground vehicle destroyed by a vicious strafing run. All right, the Centurion firing on that King Crab needs 6s. 1 point of damage on the King Crab.
He's the king.
He is the king.
He don't care.
But let's see how much longer, Dan. I'm not going to bother overheating my Mauler. I'm just going to fire here. 3 points of damage.
Oh, why not?
Because it's not going to do anything for me. It's ridiculous.
Like
3, 4.
I've almost won.
Woo! 3 points, Dan. 3 points. That was pulled that one out of my hat.
Yeah, cheater hat.
All right, well, guys, other moves here on the Draconis side. The Shadowhawk had to sprint courtesy of that motive hit, that MP hit, so he could be shielding for those vehicles. The Lancelot, too slow to keep up with that little tiny guy, also had to sprint, so they will not be shooting, but they will hopefully be in shielding position. We'll see. The Donegal Guard will be up next.
All right, Donegal Guard is up. We're going to start with the Goblin into the Centurion.
All right.
Hopefully I can get him out of my way.
Going for the kill shot.
I need to be hitting on 8s. This is important. So that is a dead
Enemy
Centurion.
destroyed.
Unreal, Dan. Your luck disgusts me.
So we're going to be firing the Cyclops into the medium escort or convoy, which I thought was just one live giant. But I was
One
wrong.
centipede?
Yeah, I thought it was two bases.
So yeah, no, that's a wide open shot. I cannot shield that because I'm not in the way. I'm not intervening, if you will.
What did I say I needed?
I think you said 8s, right? No. You said 6s.
Yes.
Wait a minute. Let's recalculate. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is what
7.
you need.
So
that
I
is just
got
1
1.
point of damage. That is. Ugh, that's tough. Okay, 1 point of damage. So that thing is still hanging on.
All right, so we're going to go King Crab into this single light escort.
Now he's still shielded for this turn.
So it's going to be 8s to hit. Hopefully this king does not fail me. Which
does not fail you. That is
a very blown up tank. All right, so I'm going to have both warriors fire into the medium escort, who's only got 2 hit points left. They got to hit on 7s. I'm going to fire them together all at once, just because.
Oh yeah, one pilot die at a time though.
Okay. And we're going to.
Yep.
That's a hit.
Oh boy, this all comes down to this roll. Dan, can you do it? Do you feel the pressure in the room?
I do a lot.
Boy, it's still alive. It's still alive, Dan.
That's it.
That is it. That is turn 6, guys. We will be back with the damage recap. Amazing.
Turn 6 damage report on the side of the Federated Commonwealth. The Mech Lance just down to a King Crab. The Cyclops gunned down by the Bulldogs. And that King Crab taking damage from the Mauler and the Centurion, but still pretty much holding firm there. On the vehicle side, the Goblin medium tank destroyed by the Shallones. This triggers the Pyrrhic Victory special rule and will downgrade the Federated Commonwealth victory by 1 degree. However, on the Draconis side, things aren't looking too good here. The Centurion is destroyed by that Goblin, and on the convoy side, we've got those warriors and the King Crab just laying down hurt. 1 more convoy vehicle destroyed, so all the FedCom needs is just to pop 1 more vehicle.
All right, guys, it's turn 7. We are back. It all comes down to this. The convoy skittering behind this comm facility building. Dan lost initiative, but still being wily and outmaneuvering me. Has his helicopter well positioned to take that kill shot. Also moving King Crab in indirect fire position. Is that right, Dan?
Yes.
I mean, there's nothing I can do here. I can certainly try to kill as much as I can. But really, it all just comes down to this last round of shooting for you. If you can kill this 1 medium transport, you will secure yourself a victory. If
all
not,
I gotta do is hit it once.
Due to that Pyrrhic Victory special rule, I will downgrade you to a draw.
Yeah.
So we're going to see here. Let's kick it off. Dan, are you ready?
Yeah.
This is what it all comes down to, folks.
All right, so we're gonna have this guy out here. This warrior's gonna be doing the spotting on that far.
Yep.
Convoy. I'm also gonna have him shoot as well.
I'm just going for broke.
Yeah, I'm just going for broke. I mean, we got nothing to lose here. So he's gonna be that's a 3. He's gonna be
long range.
Long range.
Yeah.
That's 7 and then 8, 9.
Yeah. Well, long's 3, right? Oh, right. Plus the spotting. Yep.
Yeah. So
Yep,
we're looking at 9s.
All right, Dan, looking for a 9. Well, that's it.
That's it.
That is game.
Yeah.
So that is a victory I cannot come back from. That secures Dan enough points here. Guys, that wraps it up. Here it is, the battle grid of Graham. Draconis aerospace fighters streaking across the battlefield, doing what they can, trying to protect this convoy, but the implacable advance of Prybar and his King Crab, his now smoking lancemates, have done the deed. They won't. I don't know if they're going to get off this planet. They might be POWs for a while, possibly working on the salt mines. But at the end of the day,
it's all about
they
getting
did the
paid.
damage. It's all about getting paid. Dan, spoken like a true mercenary. Hopefully, Dan, we'll see your pirates on the channel soon. Very excited about that. I'm putting you on the spot so that it happens. But this city certainly taken some damage in the fighting. But now, It's all over. All right, guys, there it is, 250 points. Dan, well done, sir.
Thank
you
you.
have defeated me as we stand over the, the city here. So, some exciting things about that game for me, and then some not exciting things. So the exciting things were, I love the fact that the airspace fighters were useful but didn't dominate the game.
Yeah, no, I definitely have to agree with you. I mean, we had that conversation back and forth about their tenacity.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, you can't get away from them.
Can't get away from them.
But they're not devastatingly overpowered. Granted, hitting threes on
Especially when you can get those rear strikes. Well, you know, this was an interesting mission. I wanted to challenge it a little bit because you have to focus on the objectives and not the airspace fighters. So it's a good mission to kind of bring them defensively.
Yeah. I think what really benefited me was, besides being able to destroy them, was at least hurting the one, which kind of crippled its capabilities.
Right. The fire control hit was massive.
So I think that was otherwise I would probably be a lot more angry at their existence.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't land a cluster bomb to save my life. I got a couple when it really mattered, though. So that was good. The other thing I really liked was how useful the VTOLs were. You know, just being able to navigate the city terrain, like you can almost imagine them like coming around the city block, just lighting up those small little convoy vehicles. But that was really cool to see. And then the mechs, you know, are still like the centerpiece of the battle in Alpha Strike, right? I mean, they're the ones that pack all the punch. They're nasty.
Escorts, I mean, it's a little bit on the attacker's part. It's a little bit less like focusing on them because you got to judge like, oh, do I want to take out the escorts? Do I want to take out the mechs?
Right.
And it's not an easy juggle between those two, but I mean, when you get rolling, you start blowing up them escorts. You're just like, this is what's the right decision.
Well, you really put a lot of hurt on my force, and this comes to like the bad thing. So this is where I really screwed up deployment, like so bad, and I realized it on turn 2. So I should have put the Shadowhawk closer to the city. I could have leveraged the jump capability. I had him way out on the flank because I wanted to get his extreme range, you know, and start laying down damage quick.
Yeah.
And I wanted him there for when the convoy made it down. But what a bad decision that was. And then the Mauler was like, I don't know what he was doing the whole game. I just like...
He was chilling in the back like he was...
I couldn't get him in the fight.
He was a quick kid in the back of class.
He had that one great shot on the Merlin with the overheat you know... But like he didn't do a lot. Too slow, you know, just not enough firepower. I wanted to bring something big, but just not the right choice for this mission. And I will tell you, even with the convoy moving 5 inches, you know, which is 10 inches if you're playing 2-to-1, and not being able to sprint, I think that's reasonable. I think if I was able to sprint, I would have outran everything.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know, again, we're still working on the campaign rules, and, you know, one of the things that Kevin and I are working on are, you know, what we call symmetrical missions versus asymmetrical. Symmetrical being like seize ground, where you and I have the same opportunity to get points, or this is asymmetrical, where, you know, there's clearly a defender, and it's a little bit different. And, you know, these ones are always tough to balance, these asymmetrical ones.
I mean, in this situation, I think you're better off. I mean, with the way the escort was moving, having the city part, because it gave it cover where I wasn't able to just keep on lobbing everything, and you didn't have to start right with it. I don't agree that you did bad with your deployment. I mean,
thanks, Dan. That's
I really nice I just think it was a matter of a lot of good rolls that I had, and
you were nailing some 8s.
Maybe getting closer to the convoy would have been better, faster. So in that sense, yes, with you, because that cover system would have been huge.
Early in the game. I was like, I don't know what I was doing. I didn't deploy anything near the convoy. I guess I expected them to move faster, but miscalculation.
But at the same time, a lot of my firing was going into your planes. Right. So I mean, you did good with just bogging that down.
I was trying. Yeah.
So I mean, that's where
I feel better about myself. Thank you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this is deployment wasn't bad because you did play it right with slowing down my main force, the main punch, where to the point where you caught up, so you were able to. It was just a matter of I was able to maintain the firepower to kill the escorts. Is kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Well, guys, that's it. So we hope you enjoyed this battle report. Dan, thanks for coming out. Always appreciate it. Looking forward to having you on the channel some more. Guys, let us know what you thought. Let us know if we did anything wrong with those aerospace fighters. I'm also really curious what you guys think about the striking rule. We talked last week, we had a scenario with indirect fire and critical hits when there's a point of impact. So curious if the striking thing is one of those where we might just house rule it, or if there is an errata somewhere. I just thought that was kind of strange. But other than that, it was a great game. Again, hope you guys enjoyed us. Check us out on Instagram at DFA Wargaming. We're on Facebook now too, so check us out there. Our website, www.dfawargaming.com. So guys, that's it. Well, thanks again, and we'll catch you soon. Always more coming from Death from Above Wargaming.